Hey there, it's Mike Cooch. I'm here on my courtyard patio at my house in San Diego, and I have a message for my entrepreneurs out there, so I wanted to shoot this quick video. I was on a hike this morning, and I was listening to a podcast with Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn and considered, a legendary entrepreneur and investor in Silicon Valley, one of the most successful ever. And he was asked, what is the most important characteristic for success as an entrepreneur? Asked, was it intelligence, experience, what was it? And he said that it was persistence. Okay, persistence was the most important characteristic by far. And this reminded me of a conversation my business partner and I had about a week ago. My business partner Josh and I were at an event, and then we went out to dinner, and we were using the time at dinner to reflect and talk about our plans for the business for the rest of the year. And we had some things that the business in particular over the last few years have been really frustrating for us. Some areas that we just haven't made the kind of progress that we wanted to make, and at times kind of beating ourselves up about it, or just being stressed and just frustrated. And Tony Robbins talks about how he has learned to look at frustration as a positive, because he knows that means he's about to have some sort of breakthrough, right? You're frustrated because your mind is working so hard to figure out solutions and answers, and you're just not quite there yet. But the fact that you are working on it like that, and the fact that you've got someplace that you're trying to go and you're not there yet, that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing. It may not feel great at the time because you're frustrated, but that is a positive, that you were working hard to make progress. And we were talking about that idea, and we were reflecting on that, and it occurred to me that the first business that Josh and I worked on together, that we ended up selling, having a nice successful exit, and had a great run for 7+ years, had a great team, multiple offices around the country that we built and stuff like that. That I had the idea for that business and what made that business unique 7 years before I started it. So 7 years went by from the original idea to the time that we got that company started. And during that 7 years, I was, relatively obsessed about the idea, and for various reasons did not believe that, all the pieces of the puzzle were there yet for us to start it. I was either doing something else, or there was technology that was missing that I felt like we needed. But I just had the idea in my head, and I was just persistent about keeping an eye on the market and looking for these various resources that I felt like would make all the pieces of the puzzle come together to make it a viable opportunity. And after evaluating all kinds of different ideas at business school and all that stuff, I decided no, that this was still the idea that I wanted to run with. So that was 7 years. And I don't know why necessarily, I was that persistent about it, but you just get kind of borderline obsessed about an idea and wanting to see that idea become a reality. And it was then, 2 years after we started before we had any real financial momentum. And then, 7 years is when, 7 to 8 years is when we sold it. I think it's just so important to keep in mind that stuff takes time as an entrepreneur. Especially right now, if you're involved in the online marketing world, you would think that people just turn on ads and shit out money because, you see all of these stories of people just, oh yeah, I put $1 in and made a fortune, Facebook ads. And there are times where those stories are true. People have some fast successes, but the far majority of the time as an entrepreneur, I think, is dealing with the frustrations and challenges that you are going to face that other people simply are not willing to face and deal with. And that's why they go and get jobs, because they don't have to deal with all the crap that you're having to deal with. I think that it's just so important, especially now, that you realize that and that you keep it in mind, and that you just accept that that is part of the process. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, that's just part of the deal. And you are going to get eventually, hopefully, compensated in some way or another, whether that's lifestyle or money or both, at a much higher rate than other people are, because you can deal with those problems, because you are willing to persist through those problems that other people are not willing to persist through. That's the game, right? That's the game. So you may have something that you've been working on for 5 years, and you may think, is this ever going to work out? There's going to be all kinds of people that are going to tell you to quit, and the reality is you do have to stay on your toes. You do have to look for, different opportunities. You do have to look for different ways of approaching that opportunity, so you're not just banging your head against the wall without making some sort of smart adjustments along the way. But as Reid Hoffman said, the number one characteristic is persistence. You've just got to keep after it, and you've just got to keep moving forward. So wherever you are in your journey right now, I encourage you that no matter how shiny it looks for anybody else, outside of your world, to realize that if they are successful as an entrepreneur, they are going through those dips, those valleys that you are going through, or they have been through them, or they will go through them here very soon, because that is just the reality of what you're doing and the challenge that you've decided to accept. What's most important is that you accept it, you just acknowledge that that's the way that it's going to be, and you just plan on persisting through, right? Because ultimately, that's what's going to make you successful as an entrepreneur. So I hope that this serves you. I hope that, again, wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey, that you persist, keep after it, and if there's anything that I can do to help you, please let me know. Take care.